Now at 5, a local expert on why we struggle so much to keep our New Year's resolutions. Plus, concern about the spread of 3 diseases following holiday gatherings, and
tensions are rising at the U.S.-Mexico border ahead of the Supreme Court's Title 42 decision. I'm Skyler Henry in Washington as the clock is ticking on the Trump-era immigration policy impacting thousands of migrants.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
the minimum wage is about to climb in Missouri. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. Most employers will have to pay at least $12 an hour effective January 1st. However, the change will not apply to retail and service businesses whose gross annual sales are less than $500,000. Also, the law does not apply to public employers. Employers are required to pay tipped employees at least 50% of the minimum wage, plus any amount necessary to bring the employee's total compensation to a minimum of $12 per hour. Missouri's minimum wage change is the result of a statewide vote in 2018, increasing the minimum wage 85 cents per hour each year through 2023. The approach of a new year means a lot of people are making New Year's resolutions, and one of the most common resolutions this year and every year is getting healthy. Whether getting a gym membership or starting a diet, a lot of people want to start the year fresh, but very few people actually keep their New Year's resolutions. According to INC.com, among the 41% of Americans who make New Year's resolutions, only 9% are successful in keeping them.
It's hard to make a lifestyle change and have that commitment to oneself, but also they try to make too big of a change or too big of a commitment. That's hard to not really concentrate on the smaller steps. So I think a lot of people just make too big of goals and have too unrealistic expectations of themselves.
According to the national calendar, January 7th is National Ditch Your New Year's Resolution Day. Let's check in with Doug for a first look at the weather.
Well, it's definitely turned out to be a much better day for us today. Finally starting to warm up just a bit, only into the mid-30s yesterday, and we dropped back to about 9 earlier this morning and then into the mid-40s during the afternoon. That's where we are sitting right now, 45 at Grand, 38 in Pittsburgh, we have 42 in Monette. Neodesha is sitting at about 37, but the winds, these are really going to get going as we go through the evening into the overnight hours tonight. Right now, you can see those south winds at about 10 to 20. So it still gives us a little bit of a wind chill. Feels like it's 32 to about 34 degrees. Luckily, our temperatures aren't going to drop off too much tonight. Wind advisory goes in effect tonight into tomorrow. The winds are really going to get moving. Of course, we're going to look at that here in just a bit.
We'll catch you then. A Joplin man has died and 5 more people are injured from a Christmas Day car crash. That crash happened near Coyote and Apricot Road in Newton County. Authorities say the driver, Samuel Mitchell, hit a concrete culvert. He has since died at the hospital. 3 adults in the car had minor to serious injuries. 2 children had serious injuries. The Supreme Court today allowed U.S. border officials to continue expelling migrants under a policy known as Title 42 indefinitely, granting a petition from Republican-led states to prevent the Biden administration from immediately ending that pandemic-related measure. Immigration officials and private aid groups are struggling to handle an increased number of migrants. Skyler Henry has more details now from Washington, D.C.
El Paso has extended an emergency declaration as it struggles to accommodate the growing migrant population arriving daily.
There are babies, there are little kids here, there are all kinds of people here.
Many are coming in anticipation of the end of Title 42, the Trump-era COVID-related policy which denies U.S. entry to asylum seekers. The Biden administration wants to end it, but the Supreme Court is weighing a lawsuit from some Republican governors hoping to keep it in place. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has responded by busing migrants out of Texas, including the latest destination. A bus dropped off migrants outside Vice President Kamala Harris's Washington residence in sub-freezing temperatures on Christmas Eve. The White House called it a cruel, dangerous, and shameful stunt. The governor's office responded saying the White House is full of a bunch of hypocrites. Government and non-governmental workers are trying to figure out the best way to handle the migrant situation while the Supreme Court deliberates about the immigration policy.
We've been working with uncertainty for the past 7 months. So we just go 1 week or 1 day at a time.
Tatiana Laborde's migrant aid group was on hand in the nation's capital Christmas Eve to help the new arrivals dropped off outside the Naval Observatory. She says they're making plans for the day Title 42 ends.
So we're just planning on what are the services that are needed once they're able to cross and actually make their way to family members.
Biden administration officials acknowledge the number of border crossings will go up, possibly even doubling if and when Title 42 comes to an end. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Washington.
The Supreme Court decided to hear a request from 19 Republican-led states who were seeking for the court to intervene in a case over Title 42's legality. The justices are set to hear that case during the February 2023 argument session. In the meantime, the Supreme Court agreed to suspend a lower court order that had invalidated the expulsion policy. That means Title 42 will likely remain in place for at least several more months. Still ahead, battling disease as we start a new year.
Health experts are sounding the alarm over an increase in cases of COVID, RSV, and the flu following holiday gatherings. I'm Cristian Benavides with the warning about this triple-demic.
And the scientific explanation for why babies do this, kick so much. Those stories next in Health Watch. Topping today's Health Watch, health experts are predicting COVID-19, the flu, and RSV will make a strong comeback at the end of this week, and the numbers will stay high into the first 2 weeks of January. It's all due to travel and holiday gatherings, as you might expect. Cristian Benavides has the latest on the triple-demic.
Just as cases of respiratory illness were starting to drop, health experts are issuing a warning.
I anticipate that we are going to have a post-holiday surge.
Dr. William Schaffner from Vanderbilt University is most concerned about the flu.
With all of the travel, all the joyous reunions over the holidays, there will be many opportunities for this virus, this influenza virus, to be transmitted and spread even further.
COVID-19 remains a concern, with around 300 Americans dying every day, and experts predict RSV, strep, and the common cold will infect and increase the number of people in the new year. All these respiratory illnesses are driving up demand for children's medicines, and some pharmacy shelves are now empty.
There's nothing on the shelves.
It's just so ridiculous how difficult it's been just to get children's Tylenol.
If you see some Tylenol or ibuprofen, you better grab it.
To combat part of the problem, the government released reserves of Tamiflu, and to prevent stockpiling, CVS, Target, and Walgreens are now limiting purchases of over-the-counter children's medicine. Health experts say, in a pinch, adult medication can sometimes be adapted for pediatric use.
For the kids that are able to swallow pills and the dose works out properly, sure. Usually once kids get over 110, 120 pounds, that's going to match up with an adult dose.
Health experts caution before offering an adult medication, parents should talk to their child's pediatrician to avoid exceeding the recommended dosage. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
Now, the health experts also say parents should keep in mind the medications that are in short supply are simply to make their child more comfortable. Not having that medication will not lead to any kind of medical complications. Researchers at the University of Tokyo say there's a reason babies can hardly keep still. They found all those kicks and wiggles and seemingly spontaneous movements. They form patterns of muscle interaction that aid in their ability to perform sequential movements and have coordination as infants. A new study finds females are generally better than males at putting themselves in someone else's shoes. Researchers at the University of Cambridge studied scores from a test that measures cognitive empathy for more than 300,000 participants in 57 countries. They found females scored significantly higher than males across all countries, languages, or age. And group meditation might decrease collective stress and subsequently lower crimes and deaths. That's according to researchers in Iowa anyway. A study from Maharishi International University, where staff and students practice transcendental meditation, looked at the impact of group meditation on stress-related tragedies in the U.S., overlapping the work of meditators from FBI and CDC statistics. And that is a look at today's health news. Later.
From inflation to interest rates to huge shakeups in the worlds of social media and crypto. I'm Michael Georgia, the wrap-up of the year's biggest business news.
Plus, our temperature is really warming up over the next few days. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, it turned out to be a nicer day for us today after we've been in the deep freeze for about 4 or 5 days, all the way back to last Thursday, but we've been slowly warming up a bit over the past couple days, actually melting some snow and ice, which is nice to see. Nice shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Check this out. Temperatures right now, they're about 15 to 20, even 22 degrees warmer right now compared to this time last night. So at least we're heading in the right direction. 39 Nevada, 43 in Neosho. We have 39 in Chatopa, 37 in Chanute. So it looks pretty good. The brunt of the Arctic air is rolling out of here. You can see it kind of warming back up once you get into the western high plains. But the winds are really going to pick up. Our winds right now, we have south winds kind of in that 10 to 15 mile per hour range, but we're getting gusts 20 upwards to 25 at times, and these are really going to increase as we go into the overnight hours tonight and then again on Wednesday. So it makes it feel a little bit colder. 26 wind chill, the way it feels to your skin. Yates Center 34 and Commerce, Cassville, it feels about 39 degrees, but it looks good. 7th and range line currently outside sitting at 42. South winds at about 10 to 15. Humidity is at 43%. Through the evening hours, we kind of hold steady, kind of in that 32, 33, 34 degree range, and actually rise a bit as we head toward dawn to near 40 degrees and then quite a bit warmer for us tomorrow. Few clouds kind of scooting on through, really. Besides that, clear skies for us tonight. Here's our next storm system. You can see it kind of building all the way out across parts of California into the Pacific Northwest. It's not going to do a whole bunch for us, meaning rain-wise, but it's really going to kick up the winds as we go into Wednesday and Thursday. So let's step through time. We'll stop at midnight. Most of us mid-30s, clear skies. By morning, we warm to near 40. We get a few clouds in here by midday, but look at our temps, near 50. And most of us are going to warm 55, 56 degrees by the time we head into the afternoon hours. Here's your day planner, 39 to start, 49 by noon. By 5 p.m., we drop back to about 53, but look at the winds. South winds at about 20 to 30 miles per hour. Clouds increase tomorrow night. We may get a little bit of drizzle in here late tomorrow night into Thursday morning, then mostly cloudy skies once again on Thursday, but even warmer as we go into lower 60s for highs. Look at our wind gust. So here's tomorrow morning, 7:30. Winds gusting 40 to about 45, and they go up 50. Maybe upwards of 55 by tomorrow afternoon. Stays windy tomorrow night, and then they slowly start to decrease as we go through the daytime hours on Thursday. So wind forecast, trash can stays in place, knocked over, neighbor's yard are gone forever. We're kind of in that gone forever category, so make sure you put it in the garage throughout the overnight hours tonight. All right, for us tomorrow, 55. We are going to make it an alert day because we do have a wind advisory in effect. 63 on Thursday, 58 on Friday, a few showers on Saturday, but look at our temperatures. We hold 50s and 60s for the next week, when just a few days ago, we were in the negative teens.
Isn't that amazing? Nothing makes you appreciate any temperature above freezing like spending a few days in the deep freeze as we have for the past week.
Feels pretty good outside.
And by the way, where do trash cans go when they're gone forever?
You got to go to Walmart and get a new one.
Is that what? Okay. Yeah. Good advice. Thanks, Doug. Coming up, we look back at the biggest financial stories of 2022. First, though, we recognize a local veteran of the U.S. Navy. Petty Officer Patrick Buzzard served in the Persian Gulf in 1990 and 1991. That was during Desert Storm. He received the Navy Commendation Medal 4 times. His hometown, Joplin. And we're proud to salute Patrick Buzzard, a 4-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, flight cancellation over the weekend left thousands of Americans stranded in airports. Well, now the Department of Transportation says it's going to probe the actions of one particular airline, Southwest. Southwest canceled more than 60% of its flights over the holidays. The department says it'll look into whether those cancellations were controllable and if the air carrier complied with its customer service plan and other federal rules. Holiday sales grew this year by 7.6%. That's according to data from MasterCard Spending Pulse. Still a lower pace than last year's growth of 8.5% right after the pandemic. This latest data does not include auto industry sales and is not adjusted for inflation. Inflation brought new troubles to American households in 2022. The Fed fought back with higher interest rates, and the tech industry faced mass layoffs. Reporter Michael George looks back at the year's business news.
The war in Ukraine triggered shockwaves in the oil market. Prices soared, bringing windfall profits to oil companies, but pain to consumers.
I pay $175 to fill up this car.
Along with higher prices at the pump, Americans faced price hikes for food, electricity, and rent. The Federal Reserve stepped in to fight inflation with higher interest rates, and Wall Street dipped into a bear market for the first time since 2020.
Down big. It's amazing. Where I was 2 years ago, it's incomparable to where I am today.
The unemployment rate ended the year at 3.7%, close to a 53-year low. But the tech industry began mass layoffs. Amazon and Meta both cut thousands of jobs.
I pulled out my phone, couldn't log into work chat, couldn't log into our internal sites.
The industry's biggest dust-up was at Twitter. After Elon Musk bought the social media company for $44 billion, he cut nearly half the workforce, and hate speech swamped the platform.
I think it's just turned into this free-for-all for misinformation.
The collapse of the $32 billion FTX cryptocurrency exchange shook financial circles and left investors in the cold.
I am probably never going to trust any exchange anymore. I'm only going to keep money in my hard wallet.
The company's CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried, was arrested in the Bahamas and charged with multiple financial crimes.
This is one of the biggest financial frauds in American history.
The government airlifted baby formula from Europe after a factory shutdown led to a severe shortage.
I look at the bottle that he didn't quite finish, and I think, should I save that? Will he have enough for the morning?
Workers launched unionizing campaigns at corporate giants, including Starbucks, Apple, and Amazon.
Today, the people have spoken, and the people wanted a union.
President Biden signed a bill to prevent railroad workers from going on strike just before the holiday season.
Rail shutdown would have devastated our economy.
120.
Christie's dropped the hammer on the biggest sale in auction history. The private collection of Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen raked in $1.5 billion.
Thank you.
And the founder of Patagonia gave away his $3 billion company, transferring ownership to a trust, a nonprofit that will fund environmental protection.
Not a lot of people understand how serious we are about saving this planet. I'm dead serious.
The founder said he hopes to model a new version of capitalism. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Now, tomorrow night at 10, we're going to look back at the biggest national stories of the year. Those include devastating hurricanes, western wildfires, the end of Roe versus Wade, and mass shootings. Again, the biggest national stories of the year tomorrow on KOAM News at 10. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, some online retailers are now charging you to make returns. What you need to know if you're about to send back those unwanted gifts. Then on KOAM News at 6, Jasper County authorities look for answers in a hit-and-run crash involving a 10-year-old child. Plus, some Oklahoma residents deal with frequent interruptions of water service, and we're going to check out a coffee shop inside Joplin High School. Stay with us. CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. We've had the thaw for a while because of the sunshine, but now the actual temperature up there is rising and rising. And pretty soon it's going to be a heat wave.
It is. We're going to be into the mid-50s for us tomorrow. Super windy. Winds are going to be gusting 50 to 55 at times, and then we go into the 60s by the time Thursday rolls around. Look at this stretch. There's no cold weather over the next 10 days, which we can handle that.
Yeah, I mean, formally, we are in winter now. You just wouldn't know it. Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.